Yubel Sacred Beast has for a long time been a fantastic combination, and now with the release of Phantom Nightmare, it is better than ever. This is my new Yubel Sacred Beast deck. So if you want to see this deck in action, then click the card above, and without further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. So to start off, we have your basic Yubel engine. We've got one copy of Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare, one copy of Terror Incarnate, and one copy of the original Yubel. We only need one copy of these since they go into one another. You can't actually summon Terror Incarnate and the Ultimate Nightmare except by the effect of the previous one, so having only one of them, they're basically dead cards if you draw them, and the original Yubel is usually a dead card, though we do have a lot of ways to summon her, but the best card that we're going to be summoning of the Yubels is our 3 copies of Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel, if you don't know, is an absolute must-have as it adds a Yubel spell or trap to your hand when it is summoned. And in order to summon it, we have, of course, 3 copies of Samsara Regenerating Lotus. You can tribute this card to special summon one Yubel monster from your deck. That will of course be our Spirit of Yubel, who can then go into our original Yubel. The other reason we only run one copy of the original Yubel is because she has a maintenance cost, so having more of her on the field is not really that beneficial. We would rather have 3 of the Spirit of Yubel. Finally, for the Yubel monsters, we have one copy of Geist Grinder Golem. Geist Grinder Golem is a must-have for a Yubel deck, as not only does he get a Yubel on the field, but he enables our Yubel OTK. If our opponent has no monsters, we can always give them the Geist Grinder Golem to deal 3,000 points of damage with just 3 attacks. That's a good game for us. For these spells, we have of course 3 copies of Nightmare Pain. This is one of the main searches in the deck. You add it to your hand with Spirit of Yubel, or you use it to get your Regenerating Lotus or any other card that you need. Nightmare Pain is an absolute must-have and fantastic addition to the Yubel lineup, and on top of that, it also allows our normal Yubels to deal damage when they attack. Finally, for our Yubel spells, we have one copy of Mature Chronicle. Mature Chronicle can be great for getting a Yubel back from your graveyard, as well as for destroying any of our opponents' like really annoying cards, and it can even get back our banished cards if we happen to lose them. Mature Chronicle can also be added to your hand by the effect of Nightmare Pain and Spirit of Yubel, giving us just an extra card to grab. But the main card that we really want is of course Eternal Favorite. Eternal Favorite basically acts as our 4th Super Polymerization and a reborn for any of our banished Yubels or Yubels in the graveyard. Speaking of polymerization, we run 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Yubel comes with the absolute best Super Poly target in the entire game. So with one copy of Super Polymerization in your hand, you just wipe your opponent's entire board and it can't be negated. This is definitely needed, but unfortunately can't be searched, so we definitely want to have 3 of them in our deck. That was 6. 3 of them, 6 would be better, but 3 of them in our deck to make sure that we always have access to that brilliant board wipe. Next, we have our basic Sacred Beast engine. We run 2 copies of the Lord of Striking Thunder Haman. Haman is probably the best of the Sacred Beasts. He's the easiest one to summon with its own effect using this deck. It is definitely, you know, it's very easy to do and it's quite possible, so running 2 of them is good. The reason we run 2 of them is because we use one of them to fusion into Armor Tile, but we also have easy access. Like if you're going for Armor Tile, you also will go for another Sacred Beast, and Haman is the best choice there. He also blocks attacks on our weaker monsters if we put him in defense mode, which is another great effect, and deals 1,000 damage when it destroys your opponent's monsters. Next, of course, we have one Raviel and one copy of Uriah. Like I said before, these 2 aren't the best. We will never be able to summon Uriah with his own effect, and even if we did, he'll only have 3,000 attack. It's just not the greatest. One benefit about Uriah though is that he can destroy our opponent's set spell and trap cards, so he basically acts as a once per turn MST, which is definitely not bad. And Raviel only summons monsters like extra tokens to our field and gains attack by tributing. It's not a great card. We can summon him with his own effect, but we probably wouldn't because we'd rather just have the monsters rather than tribute them. But the reason we run both of these is of course to go into Armor Tile. Next, for our Sacred Beast engine, we have 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast. This is the main searcher of the deck, along with some Sara regenerating, so we absolutely need 3 copies of this. It gets our Sacred Beast combo going, and it enables our 1-turn Armor Tile combo. Next, we have 1 copy of Chaos Core. Again, this can be searched with our Dark Beckoning Beast, as well as Opening of the Spirit Gates, and it enables the 1-turn Armor Tile combo. Again, for our 1-turn Armor Tile combo, we have 2 copies of Phantasmal Summoning Beast. This is the new card that came out in Phantom Nightmare, and it is insane. This card is really good. So you can tribute this card to add one of your Sacred Beasts from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and then you can immediately special summon a level 10 Pyro, Thunder, or Fiend monster whose attack equals its own defense from your hand, ignoring the summoning conditions. So this card is obviously really great, as it allows you to special summon any of your Sacred Beasts. The one that we're going to go for will almost always be Haman, as we have 2 of them for a reason. This is the reason, is because we have an option to special summon one of them and then go into Armor Tile using the other one. But the other thing that Phantasmal Summoning Beast can do is actually special summon one of our Yubels from our hand, as they are Fiend level 10 with 0 attack and 0 defense. You can summon Spirit of Yubel, and you can summon the original Yubel, which is fantastic and is the card that really ties this deck together. Phantasmal Summoning Beast's second effect is that you can banish it from your graveyard to add 1 Dimension Fusion Destruction from your deck to your hand. This will enable our 1-turn Armor Tile combo, which is that you use your Dark Beckoning Beast to get out your Chaos Core, you swap your Dark Beckoning Beast for an Almirage, tribute the Almirage, targeting the Chaos Core, which will trigger Chaos Core's effect, sending your 3 Sacred Beasts to the graveyard, and then you use your Opening of the Spirit Gates to discard Phantasmal Summoning Beast and special summon it again, which will then activate its effect, special summoning a Haman, and then banish it from your graveyard to get Dimension Fusion Destruction, using the other 3 Sacred Beasts in your graveyard to summon Armor Tile. With this combo, you get 1 Sacred Beast on the field, as well as Armor Tile the Chaos Phantasm, which is just really good. And then you can go into your Yubel place after that if you have the option. Finally, for our Sacred Beast monsters, we of course have 1 copy of Chaos Summoning Beast. I go for Chaos Summoning Beast because it's mainly for its graveyard effect. You can banish it from the graveyard to add Fallen Paradise to our hand, which is a must-have. We definitely need that on the field. And also, Chaos Summoning Beast can special summon Sacred Beast from our hand. I use this over Dark Summoning Beast because the main way we're going to search Sacred Beast from our deck is with the effect of Phantasmal Summoning Beast, who is just as easy to get out and has less restrictions than Dark Summoning Beast. And yeah, we just don't need Dark Summoning Beast. Like, he tributes 1 to normal summon. It's just a waste of a card. And yeah, we don't need it to search anymore. Next, for the Sacred Beast spells, we have 3 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card is the 3rd of our main searches. This card, we activate it. It adds any Sacred Beast or any card that mentions one from your deck to your hand. So we use this to grab our Dark Beckoning, or we use our Dark Beckoning to grab this card and then go into our Chaos Core or whatever else it is that we need. Opening of the Spirit Gates also has a great effect that you can discard a card to special summon a Fiend with 0 attack or defense from your graveyard. This includes any of your Sacred Beast support, your Dark Beckoning, your Phantasmal Summoning, your Chaos Summoning, but it also includes your Samsara Regenerating Lotus and any of your Yubel monsters, making this another great link from Sacred Beast to Yubel, really tying the deck together. Its last effect is that if you control a level 10 monster, that being any of your Sacred Beasts, Spirit of Yubel, or the original Yubel, you can add 1 continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. This deck runs quite a few very important continuous spells, such as Nightmare Pain. So if you don't have Nightmare Pain in your hand, if your Nightmare Pain got destroyed, you can use your Opening of the Spirit Gates to grab that right back. Next, we have 1 copy of Dimension Fusion Destruction. We only need 1 copy because we don't really want to see this in our hand. It's very easy to search it with Phantasmal Summoning Beast or even with your Dark Beckoning. So we only need 1 of it. We only go into Armor Tile once. We're not going for the triple Armor Tile with this deck, since that would be too many cards in the deck. Yeah, but we definitely need it to get the 1-turn Armor Tile combo. It makes Armor Tile a little stronger, and it's definitely a good card to have since we can search it. Lastly, we have 1 copy of Fallen Paradise. Again, we can search this easily with our Dark Beckoning or our Chaos Summoning Beast. Fallen Paradise is a must-have for any Sacred Beast deck. This provides your Sacred Beast with protection and allows us to use Pot of Greed once per turn, which is just absolutely fantastic. Finally, for the Sacred Beast engine, we have one copy of Awakening of the Sacred Beast. I'm not sure if I want to keep including this because it never really came up, so I think I might actually take this out just to thin down the deck more, maybe swap it for a Foolish Burial, which would be more useful, but it depends on how you play. So with this card, if you have 2 Sacred Beasts on the field, which unfortunately does not include Armor Tile, then it negates the activated effects of monsters your opponent controls. This effect is obviously just really strong and makes it basically a skill drain that only affects your opponent, which is really good, and it only needs 2 Sacred Beasts on the field to use that effect. So getting out a Haman and a Raviel, they need to have different names, is definitely a viable option to pull this card off. But if you find that you're just not going into this very much, then honestly I would swap it out for a Foolish Burial to send your Chaos Summoning or your Phantasmal Summoning to the graveyard. Finally, to wrap this deck up, we have a couple extra cards just to give it a bit more of a power boost. We have 1 copy of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and 1 copy of Droll and Lockbird. I would like to include more of them, but there's just not the space in this deck to do so, but we definitely need 1 of each of them, as these 2 cards are the deadliest cards to this deck, especially Droll and Lockbird. So Ash Blossom can easily just shut down our combo by negating the effect of Dark Beckoning or negating our Samsara Regenerating Lotus. With that, we do still have the option to use the other monsters' effects, to go into either our Sacred Beast or our Yubel combo, but if our opponent uses Droll and Lockbird, we're basically screwed. There is nothing we can do. Droll and Lockbird is absolutely detrimental to this deck, and we definitely need to include it along with 1 copy of Call by the Grave and 2 copies of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is another one that you might want to include 3 of over your Awakening of the Sacred Beast, but Crossout Designator is a must-have for this deck along with your Ash Blossom and Droll and Lockbird, which is why we run 1 copy of each of these. Finally, to wrap this deck up, we have a few basic searches. We have 1 copy of 1-for-1 to search for our Samsara Regenerating or our Chaos Summoning Beast in certain circumstances, and we have 1 copy of Peri Race Map. This will grab our Samsara, this will grab any of our Yubel monsters, or this can grab our Dark Beckoning Beast or Chaos Core, Phantasmal Summoning Beast. It grabs pretty much any card in this deck that you will need, and it grabs all of our starters, so this is definitely a must-have. That's it for the main deck. Now let's take a quick look at the extra deck. The extra deck is a very basic extra deck. We won't really go into our extra deck very much except for the fusion monsters, which are the main cards in this deck. So let's take a quick look at them. We have 1 copy of Armor Tile, the Chaos Phantasm, 10,000 point beat stick, need I say more. 1 copy of Armor Tile, Phantom of Fury. This card can be very good in certain situations for wiping your opponent's board and can be absolutely detrimental. When it does that, it's also not considered to be your opponent's card effects, which gets around certain destruction prevention, and it doesn't destroy, but it actually banishes your opponent's cards, making this a very good addition in certain situations. We run 2 copies of the new Yubel, the Eternal Love Watcher, because she is an absolute must. You need this card. It is the best super fusion target in the game and can wipe out your opponent's entire board, deal damage with her effect, and then deal damage when she attacks and banishes the monster. This card is absolutely insane. You need to run 2 of them. You probably won't ever go into more than 2 of them. Honestly, 1 is usually enough, but you want to have 2 just for the option to go into another one, just in case you need to. We have 1 copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. If your opponent runs Dark Monsters, Starving Venom's your boy. He's also just really great against level 5 or higher monsters, and is just a fantastic card overall. And 1 copy of Predaplant Draco Stapelia. Again, if our opponent runs Dark Monsters, great card to include. If our opponent runs Fusion Monsters, even better card to include. Next, we have a few basic Xyz monsters. We have 1 copy of Divine Arsenal, 1 copy of Super Star Slayer Typhon, 1 copy of Rail Cannon Juggernaut Liebe, and 1 copy of Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Gustav Max, obviously, rank 10, 2,000 damage, great way to finish off the opponent, especially if you only have 2 Yubels on the field. You can deal 6,000 with the Geist Grinder Golem combo, and then the last 2,000 with Gustav Max. Juggernaut Liebe is an OTK machine. This card is insane, definitely needed if you run your Gustav Max. Zeus Sky Thunder is a really good card. If your Gustav combo fails, you can go into Sky Thunder to protect you for the next turn. And for a Star Slayer Typhon, Sky Crisis, this card is just an insane new card that can, stop. It's made for stopping Divine Arsenal Zeus, but of course can be really good against any other card as well. For our link monsters, we have 1 copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This card is just fantastic. We can easily get 4 monsters and then steal one of our opponents. Great card. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn to get rid of any annoying monsters that our opponent has. 1 copy of Macracker from the Underworld. This card can be used to bring back our Fiend monsters from our graveyard, making it a very good addition to the Yubel combo and the Sacred Beast combo in this deck. 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. This card is a really good Link 1 that uses a level 1 monster, that being either our Samsara Regenerating or our Chaos Summoning Beast, and he can steal our opponent's monsters, which is always a good effect. And finally, 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage. This card enables our 1-turn Armor Tile combo, so it is definitely a must. That is all for this deck profile. Again, if you want to see this deck in action, click the card above, and if you want to see a video about the 1-turn Armor Tile combo, I'm hoping to have that out in a couple of weeks when it's edited, but if you want to see that, let me know down in the comments, and once it comes out, I'll put that in the card above as well as in the end screen if I remember. So thank you all so very much for watching. Let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know any changes that you would make to this deck. And once again, my name has been Senkara. That's the first time I've actually said that this episode, so not once again, my name has been Senkara. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.